Okay. Around sometime back in December, I made a video about this woman, Linda. She's 58 years old, and she was raised in a very frugal family. And once she earned her degree in business management, she moved to the big city. She was living in Victorson County, and before then, which is a county in Texas that basically that most of the people that live in the different towns in it, they're wealthy people. And her family they were wealthy, but they lived very frugal still. And some of the things she never learned to do was like to dress better. When she went to the big city, her boss, let her know that she has to, because she's in business, she has to dress better than she does, and she just doesn't want to spend money. When it comes down to it, she wants to hoard it, and she doesn't need it. She's wealthy, and in that town, many of the people there are two towns that really not as much, and some of them aren't as wealthy, but she came from a wealthy family, and like I said, she just doesn't want to spend the money at all. But at some point, when she and her brother heard that they had inherited each house back in Victorson County, their hometown, they decided to move back there and to start a business. Well, she had already been doing these kinds of things that she would buy stuff at like Dollar Tree, any dollar store, or used a lot of coupons. She would clear the shelves, and she had no problem doing that. And then whatever she could, she would just like put some little bit of glitter on it, or ribbons or something like that, and she would sell them to people back in Victorson County, mainly at one point, to make a lot of profit off of it. And she just found herself as so wonderful that she, so it was such a great thing that she did. She wasn't thinking about them, she was thinking about herself. There, they don't usually go outside in Victorson County. They usually just buy stuff at local, and what people make there themselves, and so she was bringing in stuff. She'd go to the big city, and once she finally moved there, and she'd go to the big city like with her brother, the same brother, and his wife, mainly her brother, and they just buy up a bunch of stuff and sell it for a big profit. Like I said, just throwing a little glitter on it, or and so she felt no qualms about it, nothing at all. And that many of the people that would buy it, there's some of them that would come, she'd sell it at this booth at a festival usually they had festivals, but they also had the booths up most of the year round. And she didn't care. She wasn't thinking about them. She didn't need the money, but it just thrilled her that she was making money. Okay, and it wasn't an artistic thing. It was just the way she was. She liked making money, and that was all. She loved money. She loved seeing her bank account get bigger. Okay, and she wasn't thinking about other people. Okay, this is a little bit of a recap from that video, what I remember of it. It was a while back. But like I said, she did all that, and she and her brother had moved to the big city. She moved in with him when they first when she first graduated, and she stayed with him as long as they could, until he got married. And then the wife wasn't going to be happy with it, and then she bought a condo and she sold it. Did she sell it or rent it? But anyway, she could make money. She was going to make money, and her brother was kind of along with it. But like I said, when they moved back, they went into business together and all. And so once she got settled, they got settled in their individual lives back in Victorson County. Now to go move forward, she had where she had her booth. It was called the Barns. People just called them the Barns. Okay, it was a festival area, and they were made out of old barns, and really long. And when they built some, sort of renovating some of them, the elders of the county, they basically ran everything. They told them that they would have to build places on the end where people could actually rent or live in like little efficiency or little apartments even at the end of the barns for this kind of thing. So, and that they did. But anyway, when she got settled in, she had all this stock she had been stocking up for years in her house to sell at these. And everything, was going her way, like she felt. Well, then she heard that the barns had been sold, to some young investors. And she was, like, okay, she heard it on, it's the county has its own, kind of like its own little internet copy, version of the bigger one, but it kind of started before. And they have their own county website called Virtual County, and people do, like you see on the internet, really. And some of it, the videos, people will show what they make, so people will know to go to the festival, what to look for, what they would show their items on the, Linda didn't, but not everybody did, but some of them would, like if they did woodwork or something big, they would show their items, or, talk about their businesses and all that. So, and that's where she heard that the barns had been sold to young investors. And it was just something online, online chatter about this, that's been sold. So, and then not long after that, she, like all the other people, received a letter in the mail stating that they needed to remove all of their stock, from these booths, because the new owners would be remodeling the barns. Now that's when they come in that, they were going to be making them different and putting on those little apartments, fourplexes, whatever they said. They had decided on it with each barn. Okay, and she was, annoyed about it, but she kind of understood. All right. Okay, so now this was back in 2020. Like I said, I did the first video about it back in December 2020. But anyway, so after that, she received another letter after they, she went and removed all of her stock from her booth, and they started working on it. And she received another letter stating that due to what was going on, they would reopen once it was suggested, that they could. But they felt that it probably would be in the fall of 2021 or later, even. Now, I'm looking at the notes I wrote on this. I wrote them on the 30th of January this year. But anyway, by that, she was pretty annoyed. Now, she didn't need money. She did not need it. She wasn't going to, starve. She wasn't going to go, anything bad happened to her. She had inherited a house. She was already wealthy. And, but she was just annoyed because she has that love of money. And she wants that money. So, instead, she just spent her time shopping, going to the big city and shopping and making more stock, just putting little glue on stuff or little ribbons or, whatever, just to make it not look like it came straight from Dollar Tree or Dollar Store or whatever she could get for free. She'd make it a little bit different than it was originally, just a little. She didn't put a lot of effort into it, okay, just a little. And, to sell for a much bigger profit. Now, okay, and then in the winter of 2021, this year, she received yet another letter from the owners of the barns. These are the new investors and, so say, new owners. And this one stated that they had a new vision for the barns. And basically told her that her stock wouldn't fit in. Now, imagine that. Imagine, she doesn't need the money. But she's set, on this is how she's going to make more money. Now, she had moved from the big city, quit her job, moved there, but she doesn't need the money. Still, imagine how she felt about that. And, and there were some other people heard the same thing, were told the same thing, people around her age. And she was livid. She saw it more as like an age thing. These were young investors, and she saw it more as they're just trying to get the older people out. And have all this new young stuff. Okay, that's her version of it. Now, I know that some people would have problems. Some people wouldn't have a problem with any of this. Okay, that's her business. They would have that kind of thing and attitude about it. And so what if they screw somebody out of some money when the people aren't aware that this is from the dollar store and whatever dollar store, 99-cent stores, whatever it is, real cheap, and they're selling it for such a high price. Some people wouldn't have any problem. They would say that's just how it is. It's not my version of how it is, but some people would think that way, and some people would say they have a big problem with it and say, when the love of money, they'd go down that route. And how could somebody be that way? Try to make a profit off of something that's really a big profit off of something, and not care about other people, and be sneaky, handed. Just like I said, just throwing a little glitter or a ribbon on something, something like that. Whatever they could do. Maybe some of those little beads, sprinkle them on it, or besides glitter, some people used to do that with beads, and it can be dangerous. But any of that can be dangerous. But you see what I'm saying? Some people would, but Linda, she just didn't. Now, she wasn't really raised that way. She just became that way. She was raised to be frugal, but that did not mean that she had to take, to earn money off of other people that way, that uncaring way. So, anyway. So, then I wrote more. I was going to do this on a separate video, but I'll do it on this one. And basically, after getting the letter, stating that her products weren't part of the new vision, for the barns, Linda decided to check into other barns nearby that had been farmers market barns. How many of us have been to those? I have. I kind of like them. Some of them are really, really long, and some of them are just small. I like going to farmers markets. So anyway, now she having grown up around there, she knew where some of them were, and she had gotten it into her mind, like I said, that it was an age thing, and it really ticked her off. She's rich, she's wealthy, she doesn't, if she can do this, to her that would be just making more money off of other people who are making money off of other people. As long as she's making money, she's happy. You see what I'm saying? So she doesn't care. So she said, she knows the thought of, she has that kind of mentality that in order to make money, you got to spend money, and I agree with that to some extent. But she wants to, basically, at 58, she's trying to prove something. Not everybody that's 58 is trying to prove something, but for her type, she is. Okay, she's going to make it better than the other young investors. Okay, she has it out for them. Okay, so having grown up there, she knew where some of them were, these other barns. So she went by and looked, drove by it and by them. And this is a big place in Texas, big spread. Lots of barns and lots of land, and enough room for parking lots and all this kind of stuff. So she saw it was for sale. One big group of them were for sale. So she called the number, and it was the elders of the county. Like I said, they pretty much run everything. And these are people, the elders are people who are usually, it's changed over the generations, because it's basically a generation thing. People who were from the original settlers of that whole area. And once they hit 70, but they're going to try to roll it back a little bit. But once they hit 70 years old, they can sell their, or sell their house, or give it back to the county, back to really the elders to distribute it. That's how things go there. Or they can move in. The elders have these, huge, long homes, really. And it's, whenever they hit it, they can do that, and their spouse can do that with them, or they can stay in their own homes. It's up to them what they want to do. But the elders, they get together, kind of like their own little government, but they're not a government, but they do govern. and they decide what happens, and they basically do. They're not controlling, yet at the same time that they kind of run the show. And many people think that this is how it is for generations. That's how it's been done since way back in way long ago when it was settled. And they like that. They like that there are people who have, and they've been born, raised there, and they take care of the whole county. Okay, so she called them, and they said that, yeah, they're open to be, she can purchase that if she wants to, but they told her that the house on it was not for sale. Okay, there's a house, it's a big old ranch. It was a ranch with barns and all that, and so let me see. Okay, so the barns were for sale and the parking area that she would need, but not the house. And the cost was rather reasonable. They know that the people that live there, they're wealthy, and anyway, it's just that the person that had it before just didn't have any descendants to will it to. And usually people in that county, they don't have a whole lot of children. Some people do, but usually they only have one or two. So, and each child automatically inherits the house of their family's homes. If they have other, grandparents and whatever, they will inherit it. It's going to be passed down through the bloodline, if they have any. If not, it goes back to the county, and some people, like the ones that had more than one or two or three or four children, had a lot of children, they could buy it too. But they had to be certain, they had to be descendants, at least one of them, like in the marriage, from the original settlers. Okay, this goes back eons. So that's the only way they could buy property in that county, except for two different places, two different towns, but that's another story. Okay, so many generations later, Linda was a descendant from the original settlers, and so she could buy, this property, and but the elders had some conditions. They told her that one of the barns must be a farmer's market, like it originally was a farmer's market, and she was going to have to work on the barns, have the barns worked on. And all of them must have attached apartments like the other ones, and one must be for quick, fast food stalls. Okay, I would think like you see at a fair, the county fair or something like that. And all of them must meet inspections and done by some people that have come, that are staying in an RV park nearby. They were brought in to work on these barns. Now, see, the people in this county, they want to keep people that other people know to be working. They want it to be, the elders want it to be people they can trust, basically. Come down to it, that they know through, either who are descendants, or they could be both. This group of members, that original group members that go back 40 or so years, and the people that put the computer things together, the virtual county and so forth, and they're wealthy too, and all this. They do a lot with that. It's involved in computers and such, and they also work for the elders. Some of them are both. They work for the elders as far as keep track of who's married into what family, and not so they don't nobody can marry somebody, of course, that's in the same bloodline from the original settlers. The original settlers, there were different families of them, so they keep they keep tabs of a lot of things. So they want people who they've known through the whatever route this way. Okay, so they must. So they say they've already, Krista's construction crew, they've already gotten in from four different places, outside of the county some extra people to do construction work too, and for 3, I think. So, you know, she has to meet these kind of regulations, and she's fine with it, whatever, you know, as long as it gets done, and then she can start making money. That's all she cares about. Okay, she doesn't mind in that sense, because she knows she's going to make a bigger profit. She doesn't mind spending the money to make the money, like I said earlier. Okay. So, let's see what else. Okay, so, you know, since she's in business with her brother, after talking to the elder, she said, you know, it's obvious nobody's snatching them up because the sign was old, and these houses have been, you know, barns had been sitting there for a while, and it was pretty obvious. And so she said she told him she had to talk to her brother because they were in business together. Now remember, she's 58, so they're not young. And so she said that's what she told them, and they said, okay, you know, let us know, and that was that. Now, how many of us, if we had money, would go and do something like that? First of all, I would never. I'm not the type that I don't have a love of money. Money actually. To me, I've always said I've never been money motivated, and at some point in my life, you know, I was a math and computer science major, so it's not a mathematical issue. I was, and then I changed to social, and now I'm a social and behavioral scientist. But it's not that kind of thing. Okay, I had to cut it off. My allergies finally got to me. They always do when I come out here. At some point, while trying to make a video, I'm going to have an allergy attack. Anyway, but how many of us would? See, I was talking about money. To me, I'm not a money-motivated person at all. Money does not motivate me to do anything. Really. I mean, some people say, well, wouldn't you? No. If somebody offered you $1 million, not really. But money, I don't really know how to describe it. It doesn't have that, like I said, it's not a math thing. But it just kind of, I used to just say it just confuses me. But the truth is, it just doesn't have maybe I could say, it doesn't have an amount for me. It doesn't amount to anything to me. Seriously, it never has. It never has. And I've been through from dirt poor to rather comfortable. Okay, in my lifetime, I've been back and forth between them, too. I've lived dirt poor. Oh, yeah, I actually lived in a ghetto, more than one. Yeah, well, one. It was bad. It was real bad. I did not know it was a ghetto. Yeah, by day, they don't always look like ghetto. Sometimes they can fix stuff up really nice. But it was when I was really young. Really, really. I was 18, actually. I was out of my family house. Home and into the city. Yeah. Did not know it was a ghetto. But anyway, I've been poor, and I've been not poor. Okay, I'm just gonna put it that way. I've not been in the top 1% ever. I doubt I would ever be, but it doesn't matter to me. You see, whether I was real poor, just as long as I was able to live, you know, and eat, and I had been at one point where I wound up in the hospital because I just didn't have enough to eat. It took a while. The doctor had actually told some staff member to go in there and say, tell her if she gets $450, she can come back and we'll see her. I'll see her if she brings $450 back. That's illegal. It was then. And I knew it. And the woman did too. That hospital got closed down, by the way. Closed down. So don't look at me. But apparently maybe they were doing it to too many people. Anyway, I got off track on that. But now, if you were Linda, I mean, do you know anybody like Linda? I'm not going to say, are you like Linda? Because a lot of people would not be like Linda. You know, so much of a, you know, love of money that, you know, she gets impulsive and says, okay, I'm going to go buy my own barns then, and goes for it. Some would say that's a good thing. In some instances it is. If she was really fighting the fight about it being older people, you know, that they're getting pushed out, And if it was for that reason, but this is Linda. Linda thinks about Linda. She might use something like that as an excuse, but this is Linda. So anyway, that's all I've written down. I took notes. But if you haven't figured this out, yes, Linda is a fictional character. All of them. Richardson County is a fictional place. Everything is fictional, really, except for Texas. But yeah, okay. The usual. What is it? What's that thing? This is fictional. Any resemblance to any person, place, thing, event, situation, all of that, and then some, person, living or dead, is purely coincidental. This is just a fabrication of my own mind, really. This is just stories I have been writing for a long while now, and wrote notes. Some of it I put on PowerPoint. I put them on different channels. I had written forms of some of it from years ago. I don't even know how long ago. Don't remember. And so they're fictional. But they do tell a story. Things, well, of course they tell a story, hello. But of things that really do happen. I don't know of anybody who's done that, but some of these things that can happen, like the people, like somebody can go and just clear all the shelves with coupons, stuff like that. But how many people really stop and think about, what does that mean? Or does it even matter? Some people, none of this matters. Some people think it's good, people think it's bad. Some of it's entrepreneurship or it's capitalism. That's not my version of capitalism. I don't know where you got yours from. That's not mine. But, and so on and so forth. And these things can happen. Narcissistic people. I usually have a channel that I do mainly on toxic people. And so eventually they became stories. They used to just tell little stories, make up some names to tell stuff. And now I'm doing it as far as a big series. Anyway, I'm wrapping this up. I'm losing my voice as usual happens because of allergies. I'll talk to you in another video. Bye.